The question is, what should I eat? I'm lost. And again, you like to eat chocolate. We've established that. But I think that what they're getting at is what should I eat?
70%.
Yeah. What should I eat to have a positive impact on climate change?
Seaweed, oysters. Basically, just eat lower on the food chain. I mean, I think this is one of these questions that people overthink. Like, eat local, eat lower on the food chain. Just like do your best. Like, and you're voting with your dollars, not just for food, but everything. So think about like farmers markets and supporting the local fishermen that are really doing it right. Because my mother became a farmer 15 years ago when she retired from teaching. It was like the worst retirement ever, becoming a farmer. It's like the hardest job on the planet. She's like super buff from carrying around like bags of grain and stuff. And I've realized that like farmers upstate New York, the average age of a farmer is in their 60s. The last farmer I knew that was my age went out of business last month because we all think that food should be really cheap. And so at the same time as we should be thinking about climate, that's totally connected with, are we supporting the type of agricultural systems that we want to see? And so I would encourage people to think beyond just like, what's the best for me, what makes me feel the best, but like, how are you actually supporting the future that we need to create with our food system?
Anthony?
So if I can just add to that, is that there's another side of that process, and that is waste. The average American throws away 1/3 of the food they buy. So in other words, you go to the grocery store, you buy 3 bags of food, and on your way home, you throw 1 of them out the window. Okay? That's an incredible waste of food, of money, and it has it's become a major source of carbon pollution because there's all the carbon embedded in the growing of that food and the fertilizing of that food and the harvesting of that food and the transportation of that food and the manufacturing of that food and the putting it on the shelves and you going to the store and getting it and taking it home. Okay? And then when you throw it in the trash, it ends up usually in a landfill where it rots and often converts to methane, which is a particularly potent greenhouse gas. So food waste turns out to be one of the most important ways that our food system is totally a major part of the problem, which is completely different than the problem of food waste in much of the developing world, where, again, about 1/3 of food is wasted, but mostly because they don't have refrigeration and can't get it to market. So it rots in the fields. It rots in the trucks. Okay? So it turns out that these kinds of things that we are all embedded in, the food system, but we are all part of that system, turn out to be really important parts of the overall puzzle.
Gina, we talked about this before, the different parts of the government. I mean, agriculture in America is predominantly not set up to do the type of local small-scale farming that Ayana's talking about. And so I'm wondering, from where you sit, what those conversations are like in Washington around trying to get to that place, because it doesn't seem like that's what we incentivize.
They're very few and far between. Really, most of the incentive system in the United States at the federal level, things like the Farm Bill, all incentivize high industrial farming. It gives very little money to anything that anyone would even think of as a family farm.